This is our Yanmar diesel 40 horsepower engine. We have a massive 200 litre diesel tank in the back bedroom over here. But these things are going to become a thing of the past. They're unenvironmentally friendly, they can be unreliable, they take a lot of maintenance, and they take up a lot of space. So I bet you can't guess the future of energy on board a boat. Let's talk about it. So if you don't have a diesel engine, how do you produce enough energy to run things like the navionics, the fridge, the electrics, things like lights? What would you use?
Well, obviously, if you've been following us, you'll know that we've got solar panels up on the bimini which we installed because we were just getting sick of running the diesel engine just to produce electricity to run stuff while we were on anchor. But there are interesting developments in the world of solar panels. Specifically for the marine environment, they've developed solar panels which look almost exactly like teak.
Ooh,
Yeah, so you can put them all around the deck of the boat.
Yeah, but that's now. I know it's expensive, but that's now.
And what's coming down the line is that they are developing techniques whereby the solar panel is actually imprinted into the sail of the boat.
In the sail?
Into the sail of the boat, yeah.
Wow.
And obviously it's a furling mainsail, so it just rolls away when you're not sailing and it rolls out when you are sailing and generates. Obviously it doesn't generate electricity when it's furled away, but
that's where the teak solar panels could come into practice. But I've also heard about them starting to imprint solar panels onto the hull of the boat as well.
they have indeed. Yes, there was a boat built somewhere in Brazil, I think it was, yeah, where the solar panels were actually part of the hull, the gel coat of the hull.
So solar panels are only one way of producing energy for your boat. But what about wind energy?
Right, okay, so wind turbines are one of the oldest technologies that that sailors have used to power their boat, A, by sailing with it, that moves it through the water, but also wind turbines for generating electricity, and they're great because they work all the time.
All the time?
Well, when it's windy.
Obviously.
Yeah.
be a really good thing to have in the Canary Islands.
It would, yeah, because it's pretty always windy here. But there are downsides to wind turbines. A, you need somewhere to mount it, which on our boat would be a bit of an issue because we don't have any davits on the back of the boat, so we'd have to install a pole or something like that. People with ketches, they often put them on the back mast. And the other problem with wind turbines is that they can be quite noisy, which, you know, is a problem.
Especially when you're stuck next to a boat which has one in a marina.
Yes.
Doesn't tie it up.
Yes. Another problem with wind turbines is that they can overpower themselves. So when it's really windy, they turn too quickly and they basically overheat.
Well,
And I've seen technologies where it's a rotary wind vane, and what happens is that when it spins too quickly, the blades actually get smaller, and so it self-regulates the speed that it turns at, so it's impossible to overpower the turbine. And I reckon it won't be long before we start seeing things like that as well, because they're much more compact,
right.
you know. And you can imagine if it's that way up, that if you want like 6 times more power, you just have 6 more of them on a pole that goes up the front of the mast, you know.
Wow.
So that's coming in the future.
So you've got solar panels from the sun and you've got wind turbines from the wind. Is there any other way that you can get power?
Well, there is, obviously, and again it comes from the automotive industry because they use something called regenerative braking, right? And what that means is, like, I had a Prius many years ago, and every time you step on the brakes it turns an electricity turbine which charges up your battery. Now the way this works on a boat is that when you're under sail, You can drop a little thing into the water with a propeller on it, and that acts like a turbine which will charge your batteries. And that's pretty cool. Now, we're going to talk about this in the next episode, but they also have something called regenerative propulsion for sailboat engines, which means that the thing that actually drives the boat when you're under power is exactly the same turbine that you can use to charge your batteries when you're under sail.
Wow.
We'll go into that next time.
It's all very well having these teak solar panels and lining the sides of your boats with solar panels, great new inventions in wind turbines. You can produce as much power as you want, but what is the future for storing this energy?
When it comes to batteries, the main thing is the energy density. Okay? Now, there have been massive developments in battery technology, which again, in the automotive industry, has made it possible to actually have cars that don't have internal combustion engines. And so they're pure battery operated vehicles. At the moment, the best battery technology that we have is lithium-ion, and that can store about 250 watt-hours per kilogram. Okay? Which just means that you can squeeze that energy into a specific weight of battery, right?
So why don't we have them? Because we have AGM batteries.
We have gel batteries, yeah, but it's just cost. We just can't afford lithium-ion batteries, I'm afraid. When we bought our batteries, they were, what? It cost us €1,000 for 4 new batteries. To get the same in lithium-ion batteries would have cost £4,000, 4 times as much.
Wow.
Easily. But the costs are obviously coming down all the time, you know. Next up in the chemistry world for batteries is going to be lithium sulfur, and that's going to be able to handle about 300 watt-hours per kilogram. Coming down the line, in about 8 to 10 years, we're going to have something called solid-state batteries, and they're going to be much lighter, and they're going to be able to handle about 600 watt-hours per kilogram. So
wow.
3 times as good as the technology today. So you can either have the same weight of batteries and store loads more energy, or just have a lot less space for your battery compartment. Yeah, so the reason it's called solid state is because there's no liquid inside. At the moment, our batteries are actually gel inside, that's why they're called gel batteries.
Is that why when they started leaking they've nearly poisoned us?
Yeah, basically. And the ones before that we had, they were lead acid, and that just sounds like an awful idea just from the name of them, doesn't it? And so gel batteries are safer than the lead acid ones because even when they start, even if you puncture the battery, it's not going to leak acid everywhere. They can still give off the hydrogen sulfide gas that nearly killed us, but they're a lot safer because they don't have the fluid in. And another problem is that if they do get punctured, they can overheat and set on fire. You know, Samsung is well known for having batteries that used to catch fire. That's why you can't take certain Samsung things onto an aeroplane, because they might just burst into flame. But the great thing about the solid state batteries is that there's absolutely no chance that they can, even if you puncture them, they will not catch on fire because they're not thermally, there's no chemistry inside them which could cause a thermic reaction.
So they're also a lot safer.
So they're a lot safer. Lighter, safer, more energy dense. Interesting fun fact, an energy density of 600 watt-hours per kilogram is only half of the energy density of a hand grenade.
Wow.
Yeah. So imagine all that power in such a small space. But there is also something else which will surprise you. You see, even the best batteries in 8 to 10 years are going to have an energy density of 600 watt-hours per kilogram. But there is something out there which has an energy density of 33,600 watt-hours per kilogram. That's 3 times more energy dense than even diesel.
Wow.
And that is hydrogen. And it might surprise a lot of people to know that actually, if you use hydrogen in conjunction with a fuel cell, so the hydrogen is turned directly into electricity and water, then you can use that to power your yacht, your boat, and all the systems on your boat. And for a very small amount of hydrogen, you get masses of energy from it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
It's really exciting, and in the next episode we're going to talk about hybrid systems and how that all of these things work together to make the yacht of the future completely self-sustainable.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like and subscribe.
Help us make more videos like this by joining our Patreon family.